It's the most wonderful time of the year. Yeah, I did that, but I don't think I should have. Having said that, it is a wonderful time of the year. The holidays are upon us, but it is time to get to work. The question is, what type of goals are you going to establish? I believe that there are two ways to do this. Number one is you set sales goals, units. I want to sell 200 Medicare supplements. I want to sell 300 final expense policies. And you go all out and you work the numbers backwards to figure out what type of activity you need to, the activity that you need on a daily basis to achieve that goal. I much prefer making the activity the goal, and I strongly suggest you consider this. What happens often is that people will set a sales goal, and when their trajectory is way off, they give up. So if you set productivity goals, activity goals, then you will say, well, I'm going to be out the door at 9:30 a.m. every day. I'm going to be on the phone at 9:30 a.m. every day. I'm going to make $400 every day. I'm going to hit 6 houses every day. Whatever those activity goals, I'm going to do 2,000 mailers every month. I'm going to have 2 full-time telemarketers going, again, full-time, 40 hours a week. That's 320 hours of telemarketing every month. And I'm going to follow up the leads in this manner at these times. So if you make the activity the goal, then you can always correct and you don't have a letdown if you fail to reach the sales goals. Because often people put lofty sales goals, and if they're off trajectory on those sales goals, it takes the wind out of their sails. So I would say make the goal the activity and see where you land. Then you can improve all the variables, meaning your sales skills. And here's another thing. When you're doing this, you need to be consistent. So take one particular model, business model, and move forward with that one business model and hone that model to a razor sharp blade so that you're ultra efficient and effective with that model of business. If you keep moving around, you'll never be able to figure out where the problems are. So again, choose a business model, come out of the gate, make the activity your goal, and push forward. Now, there's nothing wrong with having sales goals. That's perfectly fine. When I say sales goals, the unit goals, that's fine. But again, consider the activity as a goal instead of the units as a goal. Now, there are some tools that you can use to help you, and tools that you well know, Google Calendars, Google Microsoft Office, or Microsoft 365, they call it now, which I abandoned that, I guess 3 years ago or 2 years ago, perhaps. And I just went away from it. I got tired of Microsoft. And after a solid 20 years of Microsoft, I went in a different direction. So I also am going back. I went in a different direction several years back. About 5 years ago, I went away from my planner. Now I'm going back to this because several reasons. When I put things in a calendar, it doesn't have the same effect. It doesn't. When I write something down here in my calendar book, and I'm going, this is at a glance, and if you're considering this, or if I talk you into using such a thing, it's at a glance, the 2020 book, and make sure it has the days of the week. And make sure that, because it'll have from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Actually goes through 9 p.m. So that is your full week, pretty much. If you go to the gym at 6:30 every morning, well, you can just make a note up at the top here, gym, every single day, whatever that may be. If you have a sales call, phone conference in the morning, you can write that up there. But 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. it finishes. What happens is by writing these things down, and you can use your Google Calendars, you can use Microsoft Office, again, or 365 they call it. Now, I guess they still call it the Office Suite. But take time at the end of the day and transfer the information to your appointment book. What happens is, as you're filling this out, and again, many people, this is all you used. And remember, you would have all kinds of chicken scratch on here. So you'd have appointments and you'd have things crossed out, and then you'd circle things in red, and you'd write somebody's name like, daughter is going to be there, and it might be in a different color ink, or maybe you wrote something in pencil, or you highlighted something. And you could go back later in the year, you could be in July or December and go back to January and look at that week, and it all comes back to you. And you can't do that because you actually remember putting all that information in there. Now, I'm not a technology guru. I'm fairly good at technology, and there may be ways to duplicate this through these technology models that they have, or products, if you will. But I just don't know how I can duplicate that effect. I've gone away from this. Another thing is, I seem to have problems from time to time totally losing things in the technology world. So I'm using Google Calendar, and I lose things. So if each day I can look at my day and transpose my activities of the day and what has been scheduled to this book, I think that will help me quite a bit. And maybe then if there's something missing, I catch it now, and I don't have to wait until I've missed a deadline or missed an appointment or something of that nature. There are other tools. Now I use a program called Trello. And Trello is a very good tool. I'm going to bring it up here on the screen so you can look at Trello. And what it does is, if you have not used Trello, what it does from my perspective that keeps things organized is it's notes, but you can move the notes around. And if you look at your screen, like I have a 2020 to-do, and I won't use this list here. I mean, I already have a to-do list, and that's ongoing. But I have call mom, call Bob, and create spreadsheet. And I can make another, they call them cards. I could say, call the home office. Oh, let's see, office, I can spell that, and add card. Now, once I call the home office, what I can do is I take that card, I move it, I drop it. Once I created that spreadsheet, I move it and I drop it in the completed to-do section, or card. No, they call it boards. So you have boards and cards. So after I call mom, I move it over and I drop mom down in the completed to-do section. After I call Bob, I move him over and drop him. Now I've got nothing in the to-do section. Everything's sitting in the call Bob. In the call Bob column. No, it's in the completed to-do section. Now I want to move all these back because I want to show you something else. Let's say that you make the cards so you have a board, which is a column, and you place the cards in the column. But this spreadsheet is ultimately important. I can just drop and drag that thing to the top. And there you go. I got my spreadsheet. The number one thing I have to do at the top. And then, of course, I would always put mom at the top. So I'm going to call mom first thing. And by doing so, I can move these things around. It's so efficient. Now, let's say I want to add another board. I can say, let's see, the direct mail project, direct mail campaign. So now I added this other board here, okay? So then I can add cards to this. I can say, call vendors. So I put call vendors as one, and then I'll say check budget, and I will say market research, whatever it might be. And now I have all those things listed, all those cards there. Again, they're tiles. And then I can put another list. I could have direct mail campaign completed. And then when those things are done, I just move them over and drop them in the completed section. So I've got my tasks to do. I can move them over and drop them into completed tasks. I can look at the task as after they're completed. So I'm not writing a line through them. I'm not deleting them. I'm not moving them to archive. They're still right here. Now I can archive as well. If you just want to get things off the board, you're never going to look at them again. You can archive them, but I can also edit these things. I can edit the labels. I can change call mom immediately. So I can put that there and save that. I can add members to the board. So I can invite people into the board. I just type in an email address and it invites them into the board. So I can put due dates on it. So here you see, so I got a due date. You see the calendar pops up. I can change the due date, of course, as need be. And here's the archive button. Now I can also come over here. I can change. So I'm on the right side of my screen now. I can further elaborate on what this board is for. So I can give it a name, to 2020 to do, and I can give it perhaps a subtitle or a greater description as need be, especially if that's a project that needs to be completed. I can change the background color. I can put pictures in the background. I can customize it. I can put my own pictures in the background, which helps me organize it so that when I look at all my boards, because there is a section where you look at all your boards, they can be color-coded. Red for marketing. Say you do personal, you could have blue for personal. Whatever it may be, you can customize these boards. And I don't want to get too lengthy on this, but I want you to understand how this works. I can put emojis in there. People do that type of stuff, whatever it may be, happy face or whatever, for whatever reason, and there may be a reason. I can search through keywords. There's a search engine here as well. It has other things I don't know. I don't know what power-ups are. I don't know what Butler is. But there's all kinds of tools here. So I have more. I can interact this. I can make this interact with Google. So this stuff can transfer to Google Calendar. I don't know if it can do that to the Microsoft, but I know it does Google. I can email things out. I can add attachments. So I can come down here. And you'll see, here's call the home office. Well, let's see, when I call them, I need to add an attachment. I need to be able to have this attachment ready to pull up. When I call them, I can just go right here and again, I can add the attachment from the computer and it'll pull up. I can bring the attachment here. Then I can look at it when I call the home office. I got the attachment right here and boom, I'm right on it. So that's very effective. It interacts with the computer, Google Drive, Dropbox, Box, OneDrive, whatever it may be. So OneDrive is the Microsoft product, so it is interacting with Microsoft as well. It's all kinds of things. There's templates. There's all kinds of things that you can do. But again, this is just a tool, and I like this tool. It is very effective. But let me get back here to moving forward. There's other tools. There's Asana, which does a similar thing. I've tried Asana, but Trello does everything Asana does. And it's getting better and better. Monday morning, I don't know anything about that. I just know that people have talked to me. They've asked me, hey, Nick, do you use Monday morning? And I'm like, I've never heard of Monday morning. But now I see it all the time. More and more people are using it. Now, also for your goals, whether you're setting sales goals for units or you're making productivity your goal, then you would want to, right now, you want to make a list of what you need to get together, get organized so you can have all your tools available. So if you're going to be a carpenter, you need all your tools there. Your hammer, your square, everything is going to have to be there. And, with our business, we need our tools as well, but it can be much more complicated because we have the physical tools. We may need a bag, a Medicare and You book. We may need apps. We may need brochures. We may need all different types of things. We may need our headset. We need all different types of things, just physical items. Software we may need. So we may need to download a CRM. And if you've watched a recent video of mine, I'm not a proponent of many of these CRMs. I think Google works just fine. And in another video, which I put out just a couple days ago, I go over that. I forget what it's called, but you can look for that. And if you search it, I'm sure you'll find it. electronic devices. It may be that you need a better phone. If you're on the road, it may be that you need a better headset if you're on the phone. It may be that you need to download apps. So if you work with Cigna, Aetna, and New Era, you need to know how. And I don't believe New Era, they may have an app, but I just log into their website. So you need, if it's a link, if it's a favorite, if it's an app, whatever it may be. I know Humana has an app, United Healthcare has an app, Aetna has an app. So all these companies have apps, or you want to get to the back room of their, like Humana has an app, which is Mappa, and they also have the back room. I think it's called Humana to Go. So some companies have as many as 3, and I think Humana may have 3 different ways. Is it Humana? But I know one of the companies has 3 different ways you can enter in an application. So you need to get all this stuff together, pull it all together, and then you'll have all your tools in front of you so that you can conduct business. So set your goals. Productivity is probably the better way to go. If you're an old dog and you're consistent, you methodically get better and better, and that's one way to know if you should set units as goals, is because you've established patterns and you can look and see the patterns. Now you can improve the pattern. So you can toggle things up and I do this. If I just do 1,000 more mailers every month, I can increase my output, my numbers. But I'm going to reiterate one thing before I go. And that is that you need to be consistent in whatever model it is that you're utilizing so that you can tweak that model, improve that model. You don't want to be all over the board. Do one thing. Everything works. Everything potentially works. Not everything, but within reason. Most business models, if you work it, it will work. So if you are in a business model, stay in that. If you don't have a business model, get with me and I'll help you. And that's what we do. So we put people in a business model that we know, that we understand, that we do. When I say we do, that I do this business model. I'll go out there and run this business model. I don't do it like I used to. I can't. I don't have the time. But we have agents that run this exact business model. So you plug in, and by being in one business model and doing the same thing over and over, you can find your weakness. And that's important. All right. I think that we've covered enough. Let's get set up and get ready for the new year and knock it out and be successful. Goodbye.